Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trip Tales and Happy New Year. I hope everyone's 2025 is off to a great start and that you all had a wonderful time over winter break with your family. Our winter break seems to be extended a bit here in Tennessee. My kids went back to school for one day when winter break was over on Monday, January 6th, and then school was canceled on Tuesday, January 7th due to ice on our roads. And it looks like we have a snowstorm coming on Friday, so I'm sure they will be out of school again here soon. I know a lot of the country has been dealing with winter weather and storms, so I'm sure many of you have had winter break extended as well. Before we talk about my family's winter break ski trip to Park City, Utah, and the chaos that came with a ski patrol strike at the same time, I have to thank the buymeacoffee.com support that came in over the holidays. First, thank you to Mare, who bought me a coffee and wrote that she really enjoyed the Riviera Maya episode. I also loved the Secrets Akumal episode and hope to have more tropical resort trip tales in 2025. Next, thank you so much to my sweet sister, Allie, who sent me a cup of Christmas cheer. And then lastly, thank you so much to Danielle, who bought me 3 coffees and wrote, I love this podcast so much. It truly saved me on a road trip during a blizzard. My kids really enjoyed it too. Danielle had sent me a separate message explaining that she was driving from Nashville to Ohio over winter break, and what should have been an 8-hour drive turned into a 14.5-hour drive as she drove through a blizzard. It was just her and her 2 daughters in the car, and she said they started listening to episode after episode of Trip Tales to get vacation inspiration and pass the time. Well, Danielle, I hate that you were stuck in a 14-hour drive in a blizzard, but I am so glad to hear that the Trip Tales podcast gave you a bit of relief and much needed distraction. The buymeacoffee.com website is such a quick and simple way to show your support of the podcast. When you buy me a coffee, I'm able to quite literally buy a coffee, save up for new podcast equipment to help the show get even better, or simply buy groceries as a busy mom of 3. Every little bit of support helps, and it makes my heart swell when I know someone out there enjoyed an episode. My buymeacoffee.com link is always in the show notes. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite places in the U.S., Park City, Utah. My family has been skiing in Park City for years and years. In fact, I recently did an episode called The Ultimate Family Ski Guide, Why We Only Ski the Canyons Side of Park City Mountain Resort. It's episode 38 of Trip Tales, and I recommend listening to that episode if you want a deep dive of the area and why we've been loving it for so many years. Today's episode is going to be more of a trip report of this most recent trip we took, which was definitely an adventure. So for many years growing up, my family would ski the week after Christmas between Christmas and New Year's. While this is a busy and expensive time to ski, my parents realized that that week, no matter what life stage we were in, high school, college, first jobs, young families, typically the entire family could take off during that chunk. When we were younger, they purchased a timeshare week that week out in the canyons, as it was called back then, the Canyon Ski Resort. So we were able to go out there every year this week, and we've continued the tradition as we've all gotten older. They have since sold that timeshare, but we still try to gather the week after Christmas and New Year's. It's now turned into every other year more than every single year, but it works for our family and we love to get together during this time. Now, it is rolling the dice a little bit to go skiing this early in the season. Usually there is enough snow, but every once in a while, like this year, they haven't gotten enough snow out west to open the entire mountain. Couple that with the ski patrol strike, and it can make for a bit of a dicey situation. However, on Sunday, December 29th, we were up and out early to get to our flight from Nashville to Salt Lake City. Our flight was at 7 a.m., so we had to set our alarms for like 4 a.m. to make it to that early morning flight. My daughter and I had decided we wanted to do skincare and makeup on the plane like we see cool TikTokers and travel influencers doing. Now, typically these TikTokers and travel influencers are in first class, in a pod, with their sleep masks on, sleeping on their way to Paris, and then they wake up and do their whole routine on the plane. This was not our situation. We were not in first class. We were not sleeping on an overnight flight. However, we did love this because the night before our early morning flight, we showered and had clean skin. The next morning, we were able to wake up and literally just put our clothes on and leave, as opposed to taking 20 minutes trying to get ourselves ready before an early morning flight. So we really enjoyed cutting that part out of our morning. The night before, we had packed up all of our favorite mini skincare items into Ziploc bags into our carry-on. And I always carry my makeup on now because I have had too many times where my luggage is lost or late. And then you are kind of SOL trying to get ready for the next couple days of your trip if you have none of your makeup. And who wants to go try to buy all their makeup or replenish it at Walmart or something? We flew Delta from BNA to Salt Lake City. And unfortunately, we were on an older Delta plane. So the screens did not really work that well. They had those touch screens, but you really had to press real hard into the screen to get anything to take. And the headphone jacks and the armrests did not work at all. They had these garbly, staticky sounds when you were trying to watch anything on the screen. Sometimes if we twisted the headphone jack just perfectly, you could start getting some sound to come out, but it was not worth it. We all kind of gave up on the screens and started using our own devices or reading our books that we had brought. But about halfway through the flight is when my daughter and I decided to start our little routine, which was really fun because it took up like 30 minutes of a really long flight. We started with our snail mucin, which we've been loving. My daughter even did an actual face sheet mask, which I absolutely loved because I feel like this generation, skincare is king. And she did not care at all that she was sitting on a plane in a sheet mask for 5 minutes. It was hilarious. I brought hyaluronic acid serum. We used our moisturizer with SPF because even though we were going to a cold weather destination, that sun can reflect heavily off the snow. Then we did our makeup routine. My youngest even got involved and wanted a little blush on her cheeks. And we just had a lot of fun. We had brought a little travel mirror and then we used our phones. And to be honest, it just felt great to feel fresh faced and ready for our day that we were about to jump into when we landed in Park City and also kill 30 minutes on the plane. So, highly recommend a little skincare and makeup on a super early morning flight. Our flight was easy peasy. We landed in Salt Lake. Normally, we would rent a car in a ski trip because you have to have a car to get around, but we were meeting a lot of family out there. My parents already had rented an SUV. My sister and her family were driving over from Boise, Idaho in an SUV. So we had enough seats for everybody. So my dad, who's so sweet and always takes such good care of us on these trips, arranged a driver to pick us up. He would have picked us up, but the SUV he rented did not have nearly enough trunk space. We had 6 checked bags and 7 bags, including a boot bag with boots, ski boots, and a helmet, and all of our backpacks. We each had a checked bag, and then we had a bag full of Christmas presents because we did Christmas out there with my family and some games we wanted to play. So we really needed a lot of trunk space. He arranged a driver through ProTrans, which is a Park City and Salt Lake City transfer company. They were amazing. They showed up with a large, clean Chevy Suburban, leather seats. We loaded all 7 of those bags in the trunk, no problem. And then our driver drove us over to the canyons side of Park City Mountain Resort. Now, every time I post about Park City on Instagram, I'm just my name, Kelsey_Graves. I typically say one of the reasons we love Park City so much is because you can get from the airport to the ski resorts in about 30 minutes. For some reason, this triggers a lot of people, and I always get a ton of comments with people saying, that's not true. It took an hour. It can take 45 minutes. One person even said, the last time I skied there, it took me 3 hours to get from Salt Lake City to Park City. And someone else commented and said, did you walk? Which I thought was hilarious. But for some reason, this is very triggering to people. So this time, I timed it. The second we left the airport, I clicked start on my iPhone stopwatch. And we drove around the beautiful drive from Salt Lake City Airport to Park City. The second we were turning in to the Canyons drive, I hit stop. It was 31 minutes. So you heard it here. Mark my words. Maybe sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but 31 minutes sure beats flying into Denver and sitting in traffic for hours and hours and hours trying to get to the ski resorts out in Colorado. Now, I'm not saying we won't ski in Colorado ever again. Just when you're flying across the country and you've got kids in tow and tons of luggage, sometimes that Denver drive feels extra painful. The exception is Steamboat. I have an episode on that. That is on our list now because you can fly directly into an airport in Steamboat Springs, which is amazing. Southwest flies into it. So that is on our list as well as an easy ski destination to get to. But we pulled into the canyons, which I still call it that. When we grew up skiing out west, we skied at a ski resort called the Canyons my whole life. Well, a handful of years ago, Vail bought Park City Mountain Resort and the canyons and combined them into one massive ski resort. So now Park City Mountain Resort includes the canyons. But these are two separate base villages, two separate mountains. Yes, you can connect to them through a gondola, but when you're thinking about like going to dinner in the two separate areas, you have to drive between the two or shuttle between the two. They aren't like right next to each other. So we still like to stay on the canyons side of Park City Mountain Resort. I think the village is a little nicer and prettier. I think the restaurants are better. I think the skiing is better. The snow is better. There's a variety of reasons that we absolutely love the canyon side more than the Park City Mountain Resort side. So when we arrived, our unit wasn't quite ready yet. So we went to lunch at the Red Tail Grill in the Summit Hotel. There are a handful of hotels surrounding the main gondola and the base village on the canyon side. The Summit is the hotel that is closest to the gondola and has a great restaurant for after a ski day or for dinner with your family. So we hit it up for lunch. I got my first bowl of chili on the ski trip here. We got some spinach and artichoke dip to share. The kids all got their pick of the kids menu. So it was a great lunch to get our trip started. And then after that, I had decided I was going to treat myself to a pair of ski boots. When I ski over the last 10, 15 years, I get the worst, what they call shin bang. It is when your shins feel so bruised and painful that putting ski boots on, after day one almost brings tears to your eyes. I have popped so much ibuprofen over the years. Hey, Trip Tales listeners, I'll keep this short. If you're loving the podcast, leaving a review or buying me a coffee is the quickest way to show your support, and it will ensure that these amazing trip stories keep coming. Leave a review wherever you are listening to this podcast, or buy me a coffee at the link in the show notes, and I'll literally do a happy dance when it comes through. Okay, back to the show. I got to a point where I was like, if I want to enjoy skiing, I want to invest in comfortable boots. I did a lot of research and I found out that you don't just want to buy boots off the shelf. You don't want to go just try boots on. You want to go to what's called a boot fitter. I had done my research and found out that the best boot fitter in Park City happened to be in the base village of the Park City Mountain Resort side. It was called Bootworks, and it had tons of 5-star reviews, lots of information on Reddit threads about Park City, locals getting ski boots there, just tons of great information. And I was like, this is where I need to go. They recommend you make an appointment to let them know you're coming. I had an appointment at 1 p.m. on that first day that we arrived into Park City. So my dad drove me over there. When you walk in, it's totally unassuming. It took a minute to find. There's a lot of signs pointing toward it, but I was like zigzagging my way through the Park City Mountain Resort Village, down some little alleyways, like where is this place? But I finally found it. It's a small little shop with 5 seats that are elevated so that your feet are at the boot fitter's eye level. They were waiting for me. They were ready for me. The first thing they said to me was, how in love are you with those ski socks? I had worn ski socks over there since I was going to be trained on ski boots. I was like, I'm not really in love with them. I don't care. They were like, okay, I want you to take them off. They were like, try these on instead. Of course, they ended up selling me these socks. It's probably part of their process, but they want you to wear the thinnest tall ski sock available. Thick socks are not good for skiing. It ends up constricting and restricting your foot more, which ends up making your feet colder. A thin layer ski sock with no design, no ribbing is ideal for skiing. So put those on first. Then they proceeded to measure my foot in so many different ways, different angles, the width of my foot, my ankle ratio, around my calf. They wrote down tons of measurements. And based on that, they recommended 2 different ski boots. So they brought them over. I'm at the point in my life, I don't care about fashion. I don't need the most stylish ski boot. I want the one that fits the best. So they brought over two. They have me start putting them on, feeling them. They have you stand in them for like 10 minutes so your foot can kind of settle into them and pick which ones are more comfortable to you. So after about 10 minutes, I figured out which ones I thought were more comfortable. And that's just the start of it. At that point, they take out the insert. If you were to buy ski boots off the shelf or online, they would not come with the inserts that this place gives you. They take out the soft inserts and put in their own that they recommend. The ones that I have are furry and cozy, and they even have a little label that says shin guard. So there's an extra layer of shin protection. Then they take them back to their workshop, and based on the measurements, they change them for you. They pop out the ankles with a screwdriver and make the ankles have more space. They are changing the ski boot to fit your leg and foot perfectly. Then they place them on these heaters, and you put your foot in while they're really hot and warm. They aren't molding them to your foot like a Surefoot. A lot of you who ski have probably seen Surefoot stores at the base of almost every ski mountain. My dad got those. They are foam molded to your foot and leg. He actually ended up hating those because they were so tight to put on his foot. He could barely fit a sock in, and his feet were freezing because they were so constricted in them. He couldn't even wiggle his toes in them. He's ended up getting rid of those, and he's considering going to Bootworks next time he's out in Park City because I had such a good experience there. Now, you can pay for a special sole that is molded perfectly to your foot. You stand on this gel machine, and it prints a insole that is perfectly shaped to your foot, but that was like an extra $500. And I was like, let's do that next time. So I just got the regular sole in my boots. But regardless, they did heat them up, and they do kind of let you sit in them for a little bit after they've been heated so that they can kind of start breaking into your foot shape and leg shape and everything. I absolutely loved the experience. I will tell you the pricing. So right before I decided I was going to do this, I Googled women's ski boots. Of course, a bunch of options came up on Amazon. They were like $200 to $300. So in my brain, I was like, okay, maybe they're going to be like $300. No, these are not Amazon ski boots. So my ski boots were $650. I could swallow that. It's expensive, but it's an investment, and I'm going to hopefully use these for years and years and years to come. Also, they were so comfortable all week that I was like, bonus, I'm not in pain. But then you have to pay for that custom insert they put in, where they take out the old insert and put in a more comfortable one. You pay for the workshop time that they are back there changing the boots for you. I paid for the ski socks that they sold me at the very beginning. Those were $35. So when all was said and done, it was $1,100. Very expensive. I get it. I just wanted to tell you the price point ahead of time. I had some Christmas money, which helped with that. And I had decided this is an investment I'm going to do. I'm going to use this for years and years to come. Bonus, I don't have to rent boots anymore. Another nice thing was like when we went to get our skis, I didn't have to like sit on the bench and take off my shoes and jam my foot into a rental boot. I just handed them my boots, and they fit them to skis and handed it back. It was like, I don't know, that felt extra easy to not have to like sit down and go through all the process of trying to jam your foot into the rental boots. Now, they are still ski boots. They are hard plastic, and they are cold when it's freezing outside, and it's slightly uncomfortable to walk in because ski boots are just awkward. But I loved them all week. I was so comfortable. My shins felt a slight general kind of like I'd been skiing, a bit of a bruise feeling, but nothing like before where it was like pure pain trying to ski on day 2 and day 3. Absolutely loved it. I'll leave it at that. Boot Works in Park City, highly recommend. One other thing, while I was sitting in the boot fitter chair, the boot fitter, I feel like it's like elves making me shoes in a fairy tale, which is kind of what it felt like. They had a wall of Hestra gloves, and these I have been touting for a couple years now. I ski in Hestra gloves. So does my dad, my sister, my husband, my brother-in-law. These are the best gloves for skiers. They have leather on the outside, they have wool on the inside. They are made for ski patrol and for Sherpas. Like these are the gloves that you wear if you're working outside all day. And at this point in my life, I want the same comfort level as the people that are working outside all day. So Hestra gloves is where it's at. They were everywhere on the mountain. I saw them on so many people. And at this shop, they had heated Hestra gloves. There was a little switch. You could turn them on and try them on. I didn't even stick my hand in because I knew if I did, I would be like, add them to the bill. And I figured I should stop at ski boots on this trip. But if you are a total wimp, know that Hestra now makes heated gloves. That was pretty exciting to see. So when I was done with my boot fitting appointment, we were able to get into our unit. My sister and brother-in-law and their kids arrived, and everybody was able to check out this amazing unit my dad had rented. My dad is so generous on these family ski trips and keeps the tradition alive and always books the ski rental for us. We have stayed in Westgate many times in the canyon side. That's actually where my parents' timeshare was when we were growing up. And Westgate has kept up their units. They have renovated a bunch of them. They have painted the walls white when they used to be dark yellow. This hotel has really kept things up, and we were extremely impressed this last trip. On a handful of the floors at the very end of the hallway are presidential suites. And what is amazing about these is it's basically 3 units in one behind one set of closed doors. So you use your key to open up the presidential suite doors, and then you immediately have 2 smaller units on either side, or you can go straight ahead into the larger unit. These can all be rented out separately, but what's great about them is they function as one whole unit if you need it for multiple families or a large group. So when you first walk in and go straight ahead, that's the main unit. It was gorgeous, modern, updated, tall ceilings, multiple couches, a beautiful fireplace that you could flip on with the switch of a button, a large dining table, a modern kitchen with open shelving and an induction stove and oven, which I had to learn how to use, but it was pretty awesome. It boils water in like 5 seconds flat. 2 king suites on either side with king beds and ensuite bathrooms and fireplaces and views of the ski hills and the canyons village. There was a wraparound balcony with wraparound windows where you could go outside and just get a view of the mountains and the village, and then a private hot tub on the balcony. Our jaws were on the floor as we were looking through this place. And then, like I said, towards the back of the unit, kind of when you had first entered from the hallway, there were individual smaller units on the right and left. One had bunk beds and a full bed. The other side had a bedroom with a full bed. These both had bathrooms. These had pull-out couches and TVs and areas to hang out. So again, those could almost function as like studios or one bedrooms, but we kept all the doors open to all of these units, and they were behind one set of closed doors to the hallway. And the kids were back in those smaller units and the adults were in the bigger units. And it was just a lovely, lovely way to spend a ski trip. So thanks, Dad. It was amazing. I do have videos of this unit on my Instagram. My Instagram's just my name, Kelsey_Graves. You can see the unit. It was 3910. We were on the 9th floor, but I think each building 1, 2, and 3, that's why it was called 3910. But my dad booked it through Stay Lux, Park City. As I've mentioned, there's a lot of hotels right around the Circle base village. There is the Westgate, which we were in, Hyatt Centric we've stayed in, Summit Hotel we've stayed in, Sundial, the Pendry, Yotel pad. There are a ton right there. So you can go to the Park City Mountain Resort Canyons side lodging and kind of play around with the hotels. But a lot of units in all of these hotels are owned by individual owners or vacation rental property companies. That's just how it is at ski resorts. So you can also just start on VRBO, or there's some local ones like Park City Mountain Vacation Rentals. That's where I would start because there are so many units in these hotels that you can book directly through a VRBO. Outside of the base village and these hotels, there is tons and tons of townhomes, individual condos, lots of places to book vacation rentals. So just kind of like play with the price points and the budgets. And there there is tons of lodging right around the base area of the canyons for skiing. As I said, a lot of the Westgate units have started to be updated. As I was walking the halls and they were cleaning units, I would look into the unit. Some of them still have the dark yellow walls and the brown furniture and the brown kitchens and the lamps with the moose and the bears on them, like I remember when we originally started going there. But then every other one will have a white marble fireplace and an updated kitchen and trendy furniture. So every other one seems to be updated right now. You can just check if you're doing it through VRBO, the photos to see what you're getting. And the old school ones are still adorable and cute and very ski lodge feeling. One of the biggest perks of staying at Westgate is their skier services. We have used this so many times over the years that I am completely spoiled and don't like carrying my skis for too long. But basically, skier services allows you to check your skis in at the hotel, and then you get a QR code and a little app, and you can send your skis out to the gondola at any time. So even the night before, you could say, send all of room 3910's skis to the gondola at 9 a.m. So all you have to do is walk out in your ski boots. They even have a nice little skier locker room that you can visit. So we would walk through the big hotel in our comfy boots, go to the locker room, sit down, put on our ski boots. This is all indoors in a nice skier services locker room with water and boot warmers. And then you can lock your comfy boots into a locker and then walk out in your ski boots basically to the gondola. It's not that far of a walk at all, and your skis are and poles are waiting there for you. It's amazing. And then at the end of the day, if you take the gondola down or ski down, we skied down many times, you literally pop off your skis and hand them to the Westgate skier services person standing there, and you're like done with your skis for the day till the next day when you send them back out. So huge perk of Westgate. I remember at Hyatt Centric, we didn't have that. And I was like, I miss the Westgate skier services. So some other great things about Westgate is they have an indoor outdoor heated pool. The pool water is heated to like bath water temperature. You can swim inside or you can swim under a little barrier to go outside into the fresh mountain air and swim outside. Out there, there are also 2 hot tubs, which are lovely. There's also an adults only relaxing room that has a hot tub with a waterfall in it and a private adults only pool. You have to be 18 or over to enter and have a hotel key card to get in there. There's a spa that smells amazing and smells like lavender as you're walking by it. There is a little arcade, which definitely provides for an afternoon of entertainment. It has air hockey and the basketball shooting game and claw machines and video games, and our kids had fun in that. The only negative to Westgate that I will say is that it's a bit of a maze. It's 3 different buildings, and for whatever reason, they made it very chaotic trying to get from point A to point B. I will tell you the tip. Floor 4 is the key to everything. Floor 4 is the key to the world. So the only way to get from building 1 to building 2 to building 3, which is actually called the Bear Building, the Moose Bison Building, and another building that I'm forgetting now, is through floor 4. So if you're ever lost, you just need to make it to floor 4, and this connects you all the way across to everything. The skier locker room I was talking about is on floor 4. The spa is on 4. That adult pool is on 4. Everything connects through 4. But then you will find other things are on 5 and 6. Like to leave the building to go skiing, you actually have to go up to floor 6. So you've gone to the locker room, you've put on your ski boots, you're ready to go skiing, and now you're like jumbling into an elevator in your ski boots trying to go up to floor 6. It takes a day or 2 to get used to. You will get used to it. It's not the end of the world, but everyone at Westgate always is kind of like, where am I? And you're like staring at the elevator map for a minute to be like, what floor am I going to? So after we got all situated at Westgate, we had a family dinner at Giraffe's Burger Bar. This is right in the base village of the canyons. You can walk right out to it, super easy. Very family-friendly restaurant. They don't take reservations, so I would go early or put your name in and just go do something else while you wait for like an hour. But they have burgers, really good burgers, truffle fries. All the kids had all different kids menu items. And then one of the things they're known for are milkshakes as big as your head. This is super fun. They have like 8 different flavors. One has like a full Pop-Tart in it. It's a strawberry milkshake with a strawberry Pop-Tart sticking out of it. We got some with Twix bars sticking out of it and Oreos. We ordered 2 and shared them amongst the kids. The kids' eyeballs were huge when these arrived. They're super fun. So just factor that into your trip if you've got little ones that would think a milkshake as big as their head is something fun. And then we all went to bed to get ready for our first ski day, Monday, December 30th. We decided to do a simple family ski day. We didn't want to throw the kids straight into ski school. My youngest in particular, Elle, who's 7, didn't have the best experience with ski school the last time, so she was hesitant to go skiing at all. So we just figured, let's get everyone on the snow, take it easy, nothing crazy, start on the bunny hill, do some greens, and just have like a relaxing family ski day. Well, this is when we caught wind of the ski patrol strike. My parents had started seeing groups of picketers and strikers on the corners of downtown Park City, in the Canyon Ski Village, in the Park City Mountain Resort Ski Village. I had no idea this was going on. It hadn't made national news yet. I know the talks had started a little while before, but I was clueless. So I am like, what is going on? There are ski patrol people standing on every corner with signs that say, pay your employees, Vail sucks. One sign I saw that I thought hit the nail on the head pretty well said, burgers, $25, ski patrol, $21. So, to make an extremely long, complicated story short, Park City Ski Patrol workers went on strike with their union against Vail Resorts, saying that they want their wage increased from $21 an hour to $23 or $24 an hour, somewhere in there. They also wanted a variety of different benefits, health benefits, all these things. Now, there are 2 sides to every story, and boy, did we hear them all while we were out there. I was like, pay the people. But Vail Resorts wasn't budging, saying that this ski patrol is the third highest paid ski patrol in the country. They said they have gotten wage raises multiple times over the last few years. They have a lot of extra benefits that we don't see, like their free ski passes and discounted food and all that kind of stuff. I have no skin in the game on either side. I don't know all the details. I haven't done enough research to know. But I will say that ski patrol is what helps a mountain run. They do avalanche control. They test the runs to make sure they're ready. They put up all the ropes and the closed signs. A lot of them work the lifts and that sort of stuff as well. Normally, there are 200 of them working on a busy week in Park City, and there were 30 of them working. There are some people that are not unionized ski patrol people that just have their jobs and aren't caught up in all this mess. They were there. Plenty of people were thanking them. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your service, because they were out there working. But the majority of them were not working and were on street corners holding signs. So that impacted our trip immensely. So we are not a family that sets our alarm for 7 a.m. and gets up to be the first in line. Well, I take that back. By the end of the week, my 9-year-old son, became that person and begged my husband and my brother-in-law to be the first in line. And they did that one day, and that was super fun for them. But my sister and I and all the girls, we don't want to set an alarm and be out there first thing in the morning. We are busy people back at home. My kids have to wake up so early for school every day. They have a million activities. When it's vacation, we also like to sleep if we can. And it makes for such a better day if the kids have had a good sleep. So on this first day, we did not set alarms. We were just going to take it easy. And we thought, let's just skip the morning rush, because sometimes that like 9 a.m. time frame when all the lifts start can be kind of chaotic. Let's just take our time, make some breakfast, go out there around 10 once everything's died down, and hit some greens, hit the bunny hill, just have some fun. So we get all the kids ready. We are in full snow gear, head to toe. I had a new ski outfit. I had white ski pants from Amazon, which I'll link in the show notes. They were so warm and comfortable and cute and white. And I got a Tipsy Elves jacket, which is really cute because it looked like retro. I got a lot of compliments on it. Tipsy Elves is known for making the like onesie ski suits that are super fun and retro looking, but they've started making jackets as well. So I feel like I still got that retro vibe without having to buy the onesie. But Anyhow, everybody's dressed in all their ski gear. I've talked about the black strap face masks that we're all obsessed with because they are not fleecy where they get wet and hot. They're almost like a dry fit material, but with the thinnest layer of warmth on the inside. They can be pulled up so that it can just show your eyes and cover your nose and mouth, which we needed on this trip. It was cold. They fit perfectly under a helmet. They're not that cute. You're not going to have like a cute hairstyle, but they are so warm and they are the best ones. I'll link that as well. Anyways, we are head to toe, helmets to ski boots. We walk outside. I have never seen the gondola line longer on the canyon side. The gondola over there is called the Red Pine Gondola. It has the little typical weave back and forth area. That was filled, and then the line continued around the entire base village, like massive circle. I mean, we saw it and I knew immediately it would take at least 2 hours, maybe longer, to stand in that line. We had a 3-year-old with us. We had 2 7-year-olds with us. There was like not a chance we were going to stand in a 2.5 hour gondola line. Like the kids would be so over it by the end and not even want to go skiing and be in these ski boots. So we were like, okay. That's when it really hit us that the ski patrol strike was a big problem. I feel like the theme of this trip was let's make the best of it. And we really, really did. There were so many angry people in Park City this week. And I'll get into this more at the end of the episode, but I feel like a big part of travel is adjusting your expectations and making the best of it. So we decided to just go play in the snow. We let the kids find little snow banks. They made snow angels. We found all these different areas just to like run around in the snow. They had the best time. They hadn't been in a ton of snow yet this year. So we probably played for at least an hour in the snow. And then my sister and brother-in-law, who had driven over, brought sleds, which was super kind of them. We started sledding. There is an area that people sled in every time I'm at the canyons. It's right outside the Pendry Hotel, kind of coming down from the Hyatt Centric. There were a lot of people sledding there, but people will come out from time to time and say, you're not allowed to sled here because it is like the bottom of one ski run, but very few people take it. People got a little salty over this as well, saying, what are we supposed to do? We can't go up the gondola. There's a 2.5 hour wait. Our kids are bored out of their minds. Now you're telling us we can't sled. Emotions were high. So we sledded until we couldn't and we got in trouble. Then we went back to our unit, made some lunch. My mom had gone to the grocery store once, and then I had placed my beloved Instacart order for everything else we needed. So we had plenty of food back at the unit. We all went home, made a big lunch, took our time, then went back out at about 1 p.m. And by this time, the gondola line was almost non-existent. So it was real bad from probably 9 to 11, maybe even getting into noon. But when we went back down at 1, it was gone. Now, we did risk the fact that we were using one of our Epic Day passes. We had bought 4 days on an Epic Pass. Once you scan in, that day's gone. But we really wanted to get our kids on the snow, and we could use it from 1 to 4, which I know isn't ideal, but we just decided, again, we're making the best of it. It's warmer now in the afternoon. We scanned in, we all went up. We started on the bunny hill. My littlest held onto our hands or our ski poles. My sister had a great idea. You just kind of bend down and put your ski pole straight out to the side, and they can hold onto the ski pole to kind of have some balance as they're getting used to the bunny hill. So we did the bunny hill a few times, and then my littlest was like, let's go on the lift. So we went on the main lift, High Meadow, and did the greens a couple times. And honestly, we got in what we needed. We skied for about 3 hours. The lifts start closing around 4. Everybody got comfortable on the snow again, doing their pizzas and French fries and power wedges and turns, and we called it a day. So yes, that gondola line was not ideal, but we just walked away, did other things, came back later, and it was fine. This first night for dinner, we did something fun where we took out family trays from a Mexican restaurant called Billy Blanco's. This was super easy. On their website, you can fill out this family tray kind of catering order. We got so much food for like $200. I mean, we fed 11 people for like multiple meals off of this. We got a tray of chips. You can get queso, salsa, guacamole. We got a delicious chicken lime soup, Mexican rice, fajitas, tortillas. They didn't send all the toppings. I thought they would have like cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, all that kind of stuff. So we had to use our groceries for that. So just FYI, but we were able to make tacos and fajita bowls with the rice and the fajita meat and the veggies. It was a lovely way to feed a bunch of people. And sometimes it's hard to go out to eat after a ski day because you've got to rally everybody to like, usually they want to get in the hot tub and then you got to get them dressed again. And everybody's just wiped out and wants to be in their long johns or in pajamas. So carrying out family trays from Billy Blanco's was a great first dinner. This night, like every night, we played family games. Two of our favorites right now are called It's in the Bag and Flip 7. I will link It's in the Bag in the show notes. And then when and if Flip 7 comes back in stock, I will also put that in the show notes. I'll probably have to update it later because it's currently sold out everywhere. We love these games so much. It's in the Bag is like a guessing game. You're trying to figure out what's on each card. It includes describing what's on the card and acting it out and only using one word. It's so fun. We have the best time with it. And then Flip 7 is a brand new game that my mom caught wind of. It's like one of the best games of the year. It's a card game, kind of feels a little almost like pokerish, where you're deciding if you want to be hit with another card or stay. But I promise you, we got addicted to this. Everyone from the 9-year-old up, I would say you have to be kind of good at math. So 9 years and up worked for us. I can't say enough about it. We absolutely loved this card game, Flip 7. The next day, Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, we had a big day of ski school. We did the group lessons. Everybody had a great day at group lessons. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Ski school, ski lessons is the best investment you can make. You only have to do it a handful of times before your kids are skiing like pros. It's expensive, but once you rip that Band-Aid off, it is so great. Because of this, we were up and out early. Ski school starts promptly at 9. So dropped our kids, went up the gondola. But unfortunately, because of the ski patrol strike, a lot of the mountain still wasn't open. Now, the resort was trying to blame this on lack of snow, but while we were there, it snowed a lot. And in previous years, I'm almost positive if the ski patrol was working, they would have opened up more lifts and more areas. My beloved Dreamscape area. This is an area of the canyons that has these long, winding paths over bridges, under bridges. You almost feel like you live there and you are skiing home from the market. That it feels like you're on little ski paths and roads and you ski past these insanely gorgeous, huge ski homes that have fireplaces going and people in the outdoor hot tubs. And you're just like, who are these people renting these massive, amazing ski homes? That area was closed the entire week. And it really hurts my soul to say that because that is my favorite place to spend my afternoon when I'm skiing at the canyons. There are like 3 or 4 lifts that service that area. You can stay all the way over there and have all this beautiful snow. None of that was open. The main 2 lifts, High Meadow, which is just greens, and then Saddleback, they're right next to each other. We took those almost the entire trip. Their other main lifts like Tombstone were not open, which opens up a lot more of the mountain. Peak 5 lift wasn't open. The Orange Bubble, which is another lift you can take from the very base, like the gondola, that did start running here and there. It was always like hit or miss. And then there's a lift called Sun Peak Express, which was going. So anyways, there were options, but by the end of the trip, we had skied everything we could. And it was kind of like, okay, I can understand why people are getting frustrated. I was also in a depression because my favorite restaurant called Lookout Cabin, which is like the one fancy restaurant on the mountain, which has alpine fondue and fancy cocktails. And it's just like such a fun little splurge, was closed because you couldn't get to it because those runs weren't open. And so I was just like, what is happening? I will say our favorite run of the entire trip was called Cocapelli. We've always loved this run. This trip, it was full of so much fresh snow every single day. Everyone in our group loved it. Even my kids down to my 7-year-old did it. It's a blue. It's off of Saddleback Lift. Cocapelli is where it's at. If I could only do one run over and over again, that's the one I do. So, like I said, we made the best of it. We had a good ski day. Kids had a good time in ski school. We came back to the unit. It was New Year's Eve. We made a fun pasta bar in. I don't love cooking too much on vacation because I cook every single night of the year, I feel like, while I'm home. But on ski trips, it's kind of fun because you just want to be cozy. You don't want to go back out. So we made three different types of pastas with different sauces. We had a fettuccine alfredo, we had a red meat sauce with spaghetti, and then we had a pesto on penne. We had some rotisserie chicken, if anybody wanted to add it to any of the pastas, a big Caesar salad, good old Texas toast, straight up Texas toast from the freezer section with cheese on it. And we cooked it all. We all helped and had a big New Year's Eve dinner, which was super fun. Again, played games, turned on all the countdown shows from all the different cities and listened to music and just had a great time. We stayed up till midnight, everyone except the little girls. The three little girls, the 3-year-old and the two 7-year-olds went to bed around like 10 or 11, and everybody else stayed up, which was really fun. I think it was the first time my son, who's 9, has stayed up. He's tried in the past, but always falls asleep. So rang in the new year, got some sleep, and then we decided the next day, New Year's Day, was going to be an off day. That's what's amazing about going out to one of these places for a week is if you ski 4 days, you can take off days in between, which can really help your poor, sore body heal up. So on Wednesday, January 1st, 2025, we went to Woodward to go snow tubing. So this is the best snow tubing in the area. Woodward is a super cool spot with super high snow tubing hills and lower ones. If you've got little ones who don't want to do the big hill, you stand on magic carpets, which take you up. You buy tickets, you get a 2-hour tubing window. These tickets do sell out in busy times. So we bought these a couple months before we went just to make sure we had them. And while we were out there, they were sold out, just so you know. Woodward also has the most insane indoor area that I've ever seen. Again, this is saved in my Park City highlight bubble on Instagram, Kelsey_Graves. They have an indoor area with a skate park. You can use skateboards and scooters to play in the skate park. They have trampolines. They have foam pits. They have places where you can rollerblade down this like hill and practice like a backflip into a foam pit. So the reason it exists is because you can practice like snowboard and ski jumps in here and skateboard flips and all that, but kids use it as just a huge playground as well. You have to see my videos. It's an incredible spot. That's a separate ticket though. So just know that if you want to do the indoor spot, you can buy like an all access pass where you can do the snow tubing and the indoors. We decided just to go snow tubing this time, but our kids were a little like, we need to try this indoor spot sometime as well. We continued to just take it easy. Some people spent some time in the Westgate arcade that afternoon, and then we just ate leftovers for dinner. Thursday, January 2nd, was a private ski lesson day. Private ski lessons are so expensive, but when you split it between a bunch of kids, sometimes it actually gets close-ish to the price of group lessons, and they get all this one-on-one time. So sent our kids off with their private instructor, and one of the best moments of the trip, my New Year's miracle happened. Lookout cabin opened. I had been calling because they do have a phone number because you can make reservations there. I had been calling around 11:30, 11:35 to find out if they were open because it's like hard to get to if it's not open. And they answered the phone and I was like, oh my gosh, are you guys open today? They said yes, but you have to get here fast because there are already a ton of reservations. I don't even know if that's possible since they've been closed, but we skied as fast as we could over to that orange bubble lift. You have to get off halfway. The orange bubble, you can get off at the halfway point or the top. You get off halfway and you're right at Lookout Cabin. And the adults, while the kids were in their private ski lesson, sat down at the white tablecloths and ordered mussels. And I got my beloved Alpine fondue. It's not just any fondue. It is the white Gruyere cheese, which comes with crusty bread, apples, pears, grapes, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, roasted potatoes. That's the best one. And it is just a dream. So we got a couple Alpine fondues. Some people got meatloaf. Another person in our group got ramen. We got fancy cocktails and wine in real wine glasses. And it was just the most lovely bougie ski lunch ever. It's my favorite place. And I was so thankful I got to go to that on this trip. So again, the ski patrol strike was still happening. Not much more of the mountain was open. There was a lot of fresh powder though. We actually had a rope drop moment. Sounds like I'm at Disney World. This hasn't happened to me at a ski resort before, but because it was taking so long for them to open runs because they didn't have that much ski patrol, we were waiting at the top of this run. There was a rope. This is like midday, and there was ski patrol there saying, it's not open yet. It's not open. It's about to open. Hang tight. People would get impatient and go the other way. Well, then they dropped the rope and you got to ski down like first tracks, powder in the middle of the day. That was a super fun moment and we were all thrilled. That was a lovely ski run. It was Echo, which goes down to the Sun Lodge, if you know the area. Normally, I don't like the Echo run because it can get quite icy. But in this case, with the rope drop, it was amazing. So we ended up, again, having a great ski day, making the best of it, having a fun bougie lunch at Lookout Cabin, getting some fresh powder in. But there were still a lot of angry people on the mountain. We were having a great time. Maybe we had a mindset shift and a perspective shift and just wanted to make the best of it. But there were definitely a lot of unhappy people. Our kids had a great private lesson and ended up being pushed to the actual edge of what they could handle. This lesson was with the 7-year-olds all the way up to my 12-year-old. They're supposed to get back at 4 p.m. They ended up getting back at 5 p.m. They skied all the way down. The two little girls were basically crying by the end because they had been pushed so hard, which we were a little like, was that too much? But the next day when they skied, they were shredding. So we were like, okay, maybe they got pushed to the absolute edge of what they could handle, but now they are basically professional 7-year-old skiers. So that was pretty cool. This Thursday night, January 2nd, my husband and I and my sister and her husband, the four of us went out for a fun evening in downtown Park City. Main Street Park City is so cute. It is strung up with colored Christmas lights zigzagging back and forth above the street. There are tons of cute shops and art galleries and nice restaurants and family-friendly restaurants, fudge shops, candy shops, ice cream shops. It is a dream. We went to a new-ish restaurant called Pinecone Ridge. It was phenomenal, so beautiful inside, really high-end food. I mean, it was new American, but it was just expensive, but everything's expensive when you're looking at the fancy restaurants in downtown Park City. But I got salmon that was had these little shrimp wontons around it, which were delicious. My sister got sea bass. My husband got elk, which where else can you order like an elk fillet? The food was phenomenal, top notch. We absolutely loved our dinner at Pinecone Ridge. Definitely splurgy, but super awesome restaurant. And then we went out afterwards in downtown Park City. There are a handful of spots that are kind of known as après and ski bum bars. No Name Saloon is one of them. It is so fun. There are Christmas lights thrown up all over the place inside. It is jammed packed full of people. There are 3 levels. There's a rooftop that overlooks downtown Main Street. Almost like you're like on a Nashville rooftop bar, but you're overlooking Main Street Park City instead of like Broadway. There's a second level, and then we were on the main level. It's just a fun place if you happen to find yourself late night or in the evenings in downtown Park City without kids, which was us this one night. And we had a great time just chit-chatting and catching up and hanging amongst the local ski bums. So Friday of our trip, January 3rd, was another off day, which was awesome that we had this. We went out to a yummy brunch at Roadhouse. Roadhouse used to be called Squatters Roadhouse Pub. Now it's just Roadhouse Pub. There's a brewery there, but they also make a delicious brunch. They've got good food all day long. So it's not in downtown Main Street Park City. It's kind of in between the ski resorts and downtown Park City. I had a breakfast burrito. We had some yummy beignets. The whole group absolutely loved their brunch. We were thrilled. We had a reservation, but it wasn't super crowded, which was awesome. Then we spent the rest of the stay chilling in the indoor and outdoor pools, which was fun, the hot tubs. And I told you we did one of the things on the Westgate activity board. So on this Friday, they had something called Chocolate Indulgence plus a magic show. And we were going to skip it, but we were like, why not? Let's run down there. It was in one of the conference rooms. We made our way there. This was all free. We just showed up. The chocolate indulgence was a massive table full of chocolate covered strawberries, flourless chocolate cake, brownies, chocolate cookies. They had little plates and you could load up with all this yummy chocolate. Our kids were thrilled. There were huge water containers with cups for water, and then all these conference room tables covered in white tablecloths to find a seat for the magic show. So we loaded up on chocolate, and then a local magician put on a very entertaining show. Super fun. Did some mind reader stuff where he had me and another woman and my husband choose a word together out of a Harry Potter book that he ended up later handing us a magic wand. And the word was in the magic wand that he revealed he had written down. Super fun magic show. The kids loved it. It was just awesome that Westgate put that on for free. So definitely check out the things that are going on at the resort because they're pretty fun. Friday afternoon, we took the entire family to downtown Park City. We walked Main Street. We popped in all the shops. Everyone got a souvenir. Of course, the little girls all ended up with a stuffy because they obviously need another stuffy in their lives. But my older kids picked out t-shirts and a pocket knife, and we had fun just shopping in all the souvenir shops. And then we went to our favorite family-friendly spot for dinner on Main Street. It's called Main Street Pizza and Noodle. We've been going there for years, actually, for you 80s babies, if you watched Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen back in the day, they came out with movies, and one of their movies is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen take Park City, or maybe it's like called a ski trip or something. They eat at Pizza and Noodle in that movie. Random blast from the past, but I remember thinking, oh my gosh, we've been there. So it's still there. It doesn't take reservations. Show up early if you've got a big group, but they've got tons of big tables, great pizza, great pastas, even other things. We had kids get like steak quesadillas and calzones and big salads and garlic knots. Main Street Pizza and Noodle is where it's at for a big, easy, chill family dinner. And then Saturday was our last family ski day. No lessons or anything, just go out and ski as a group. It was cold and snowy and windy and almost where it feels like ice is pelting at your face. So again, we took it easy, but we were able to get up the gondola just fine, no problem. We did a lot of runs as a group. My youngest, Elle, blew me away. She was fired up. She had learned to ski so well from her lesson and her private lesson. She was parallel turning down the mountain. I was like, what is going on? But this is the benefit of ski lessons. I was ready to go in for a hot chocolate break after like two runs with all the snow and ice hitting my face. And she was like, no, one more time up the lift. And I was like, okay, I guess if my 7-year-old is begging me to go up the lift on this snowy day, I've got to go. So skied as a group, had a big fun lunch as a group at Red Pine Lodge, which is the main lodge up there on the canyon side, and then skied a little bit more. We skied all the way down to the base, which was really fun and impressive to watch all these kids do it. And I was just so filled with gratitude that we had gotten so much skiing in. I mean, I was sore. I skied as much as I possibly could each day. I might have done the same runs a handful of times each day because that's what was open. But I was so thankful to get so much skiing in and to see my kids fall in love with skiing. This day, my older two, Kate and Parker, who are 9 and 12, did their first black diamond with their dad and their uncle. This was a huge accomplishment. They were nervous to try it. They did the grizzly run, which is a lot of work. It is mogully and ungroomed and takes a lot of work to get down. It's very steep, and they were so proud of themselves. They did it without falling, which was a huge accomplishment. That night, just the adults, including my parents, went out to Edge Steakhouse, which is a very fancy steakhouse in the Westgate Hotel. We'd actually never eaten there before. It is very high end and quiet, and there is like piano music playing, and we all walked in like, we're so glad we didn't bring the kids here because we would have stuck out like sore thumbs. It's very fancy. We got delicious steaks, delicious sides, delicious bottles of wine, delicious chocolate souffle cake. It was all pristine and lovely and fancy schmancy. My oldest babysat the kids back in the unit, which was fun. And we were in the same hotel. We were just on the bottom floor as opposed to, our floor. So we felt safe that if we needed to pop back up there for anything, we could actually see our windows from the steakhouse. That's how it was set up. But that was a lovely way to close the trip. And then our flight back was easy peasy. I don't know how we escaped flight cancellations because everyone else in the entire country, it seemed like their flights were canceled. This is when Kansas City had that massive ice and snowstorm and the Chiefs were stuck. I mean, the news was like thousands and thousands of flights have been canceled. And we got on our flight, no problem, to fly home on Sunday. I was like, that is a miracle. On our flight home, we had a brand new Delta plane with the new screens where you can watch live TV, which I just love because it just feels so cool to be able to like watch an NFL game or watch the news or watch the Weather Channel. That was super fun. I watched a movie, Fly Me to the Moon, which is about the moon landing and all the marketing that went on behind it and if it was fake and all that kind of stuff. It was a good movie with Scarlett Johansson. So very thankful for new Delta screens. It even said that there was free Wi-Fi on board. I didn't even test it because I was so distracted by my live TV and my movies, but that's pretty awesome if Delta's starting to offer free Wi-Fi for people. And that pretty much wraps up our trip. Despite the lack of snow and the ski patrol strike, it was still a lovely trip. And I wanted to speak to that really quickly about mindset and rolling with the punches while you are traveling. A lot of unexpected things can happen during travel, flight cancellations, ski patrol strikes. I vividly remember a trip with my family when we were younger. We were going to North Carolina and our flights got completely canceled. Again, there was like an ice storm. We ended up like having to sleep in the airport and we got in at like 1 a.m. And I remember watching my parents stay so calm during it all. Yes, it's not ideal. Yes, there are moments where you're just like, how is this happening? But they stayed so calm amidst so much chaos. And I learned from that. Nothing is going to help anything by getting angry. I watched people get angry this ski trip. I watched people chew out service staff. It's never going to help. As frustrating as things might be, trying to stay calm, roll with the punches. How can we make the best of the best? How can we still make this an adventure and some memories? We ate lunch in one of the lodges, in one of the ski lodges next to a British couple and their son. We hadn't engaged them in conversation yet. They were so angry. They were going off about how ridiculous this was, how much they hated Vail. They will never ski here again. And their poor son is there just trying to be like, well, we did get some good skiing in today. I wish I could do it in a British accent because that's how it sounded, but I'm not going to subject you guys to that. But they did finally engage us in conversation and it just brought me down. They were so angry and just honestly like pissy. It was uncomfortable to be around them and to listen to them. And I was a little like, well, I'm sorry. And, there's nothing I can say to bring them up. Yes, it's an unfortunate situation, but they were trying to get their money back on all this stuff. And I was just like, you know what? We are going to go off and have a few more ski runs in our day and have a great attitude and have a wonderful trip because we are here with family. And it's so rare to be on ski trips amidst these beautiful mountains with family skiing down slopes, like make the best of the trips. And I know it's easy to say. I definitely had a rough trip on our Disney cruise, which many of you guys have listened to that episode. But still, at the end of the day, we had many magical moments and we made the best of it for our kids. And so, anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now, but I'm here to say there's still a lot of fun and magic to be had, even when things don't go exactly as planned. And now I am on the edge of my seat to see what happens with this Vail strike. I check every day. I Google the headline every day. I check my Epic Park City app every day to see if any other lifts have opened. So far, they haven't. So bummer for the locals that only have a few lifts open on that big, beautiful mountain, but hopefully they can come to a resolution soon and get back to business as usual out in Park City. I still love Park City and we will continue to go back to that area of the country because we love it so much. Thank you for tuning in to our holiday Park City trip recap. You are always welcome to message me questions on Instagram and I will try to get back to all of them. Happy 2025 and make sure you're subscribed because next week coming up, we have an amazing Grand Canyon trip with so many details about not just visiting the South Rim, but the North Rim as well and other places like Horseshoe Bend. Stay tuned and I will talk to you on the next episode of Trip Tales. That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.